Good afternoon, or is it even good morning, and welcome to PRTvSpurs, your channel for everything to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And tomorrow, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club travel to the dreaded Anfield in Liverpool to face Liverpool in the penultimate home game for Jurgen Klopp. And we all know what happened at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So let's get into this. Let's do the preview show. It's Saturday, the day before, 4:30 p.m. kickoff for Tottenham. We're just coming back from getting beat at Stamford Bridge. 3 defeats on the bounce. Is it going to be 4, or can Ange and the Tottenham lads bounce back with a victory at Anfield, which rarely happen because they don't happen at Stamford Bridge, and it didn't on Thursday. Will it happen at Anfield? Joining me, as always, is Sam, Spurs for Life, and Mr. Tottenham Tafossi. Good morning, gentlemen. Have we all recovered now from the Chelsea game? And are we really looking forward to the Liverpool game on Sunday?
My answer is yes and no.
Simple.
A simple answer, isn't it? I mean, I've lost count the number of times I've actually been in the stadium at Anfield and see us lose, and we managed to sort of lose in last minutes and what have you. And it seems a long time ago since I was there when Jurgen Klinsmann scored a last-minute winner in the FA Cup.
And he's under dive.
Yeah, there's obviously been 1 or 2 league wins as well, but they're very few and far between. Let's hope that we at least put on a more equitable or acceptable performance tomorrow, because the last 3 games have left us very, very deflated. But I saw something on the internet last night. We'll talk about it, which gave me some hope.
It looks like Sam went to sleep after the Chelsea game and he's just woken up.
Well, it doesn't really matter how I feel about the Chelsea performance. I just hope the players and the management have moved on and they've prepared well for this game. It's going to be a tough game, and they only just played on Thursday. They do say the old saying, you want to have a game as soon as you can afterwards, after a bad defeat, to try and put it right. But I don't think I'd handpick this one as being the one to try and get the next victory at. But it's needs must.
It is needs must. And like we said, Anfield is not a good hunting ground for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, as we've alluded to many times. It's that Chelsea situation, isn't it? No matter how well we're playing, there's certain grounds that we go to and we just don't turn up. Now, we'll talk about the team news and everything tomorrow as well. But let's get into this then. So, Sam, you're my sidekick today, as always, to do my slides, because I'm in sunny Manchester, which is not really sunny. So Sunday, 5th of May, 4:30 p.m. kickoff at Anfield. And like I said, it's Klopp's penultimate home game, and there's a lot of animosity after what happened at the Hotspur Stadium. So it's going to be very interesting. 63 times, if I'm correct, Tottenham and Liverpool have met in the Premier League, with Liverpool winning, if I'm right, 31 times. Tottenham have won 15. Liverpool have 20 wins, Tottenham 2 away from home. They've won 11 times at our stadium and 13 Tottenham have won, 17 draws. Sam, this is one of them again, isn't it? 2 away wins in 63 games altogether, but we've had 2 away wins in 20.
It almost looks like the same slide.
It does.
It's almost the same slide. I thought it was, to be honest. I don't know what else we can really say about this. There are teams that you don't have a good record against, and there's teams you have a desperately bad record against, and this is one of them. Unfortunately, we can have them home victories, but when you see 2 away victories at Anfield going into a game which you're desperately off form and you desperately need a result for, and the manager under pressure and Klopp's under pressure as well, let's not forget that, but they've kind of probably eased a little bit. Last home game for them against Spurs, it could be anything. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. If I'm honest with you, I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Yeah. Sean, yourself? I'm just going to leave you while you talk about it, Sean. I'm just going to be 1 second.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah, I totally agree, Sam. It's not, it's this Old Trafford, Emirates, Stamford Bridge. They're just, the grounds where we seem to play the history rather than the team in front of us, again, you have to play each other twice a season, and it's just come round to that one. When we looked at the fixtures on the opening day, we looked at April, we said there were horrible fixtures, and that was when they included Man City. But now it's, and then they thankfully got to the FA Cup semi-final. But yeah, it's...
again, can you imagine if we had that run of games with City in there as well after this Liverpool game or before, whenever it would have been in the original schedule?
A couple of weeks back, yeah.
Oh God,
that was a horrible run of fixtures. But I think we should still cling on to 5th, 6th at worst. So that would get us in the Europa League. But it's been a tough month to be a Spurs fan, and I don't see it getting any easier tomorrow afternoon come 6:30.
Of course it's not. This is you know what? It doesn't matter who we're playing. It's how the players make that game tomorrow. We can make it as easy as we want, or we can make it as uncomfortable as we want. And at this precise moment, it seems to be very, very uncomfortable. So in terms of that, the last 5 meetings then between Spurs and Liverpool, 19th of December 2021, it was a 2-2 draw at home. 7th of May 2022, 1-1 draw at Anfield. 6th of November 22, we lost 2-1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 30th of April 2023, 4-3 at Anfield. And 30th of September 2023, we all know that we was all at the game. Spurs 2, Liverpool 1 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 win. Sorry, 2 draws, 2 losses, 1 win at the last 5 meetings in terms of that. It's what, you know what, I ask you the same question week in, week out. That's the last 5 games. Do the results really matter, or is it got to that stage now where we go and play these teams on the occasion rather than the team?
Yeah, for me, I like to go back to who's in charge, continuity of managers. We've obviously had a change of managers in that period of time. They haven't. Liverpool have slowly changed their team over that period of time. I would imagine that December 2021, that team up to 2022 was obviously a very good team, and they've tried to rebuild since then, I guess, with certain players having left the club. It's Anfield. Unfortunately, if you go back with this record, you could probably take this record back further and further. There isn't a lot of joy in there playing Liverpool at their place. There isn't. And the expectations for these players now for tomorrow, the things I want to see them do, I haven't seen them do, because we can't go out there and expect we can go out there and play better football than Liverpool in the sense of keeping possession. But I think you're going to need more than that tomorrow. We're going to need to have some real fighting spirit. Things that, Andrew's probably wanting things, in my opinion, that you can't coach players. You can't coach player heart. I made the boxing analogy before. You're born with it or you're not. And fighting spirit is something that you can't coach. You can coach to be aggressive. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, this game, I'm like I said, like you said as well, I'm not looking forward to this one. Sean, what are you saying?
I'm kind of looking back over these fixtures and just remembering. It is a game that kind of sticks in your mind. This one, that 2-2 draw, that was with Jose, and I think we had Winks, Dele, and Ndombele in midfield from memory.
If I remember, those two draws were really entertaining games, were they not?
Yeah,
I think that that 2-2 at December 21, that was a last minute kind of equaliser by them.
We were I think we were. I think we were 2-0 down and came back to 2-2.
Which was the game then when we got the penalty, and didn't they then go down the other end and score with Salah, or was it the other way around?
Is this at their place?
This was at their place.
Okay, so if you go to the next slide.
Okay, sorry. Preempting. Sorry, let's go.
But last year's game, for example, we get back to 3-3 in injury time, and then
we lost.
Lucas Moura does that. It still sticks in my throat anyway.
Yeah. This is the last 5, Sean. This is the last 5 visits to Anfield.
Right.
2019 lost 2-1 in March. Then in October 2019 we lost 2-1 again. 10th of December 2020 we lost 2-1. 7th of May 2022 1-1, and then last season, that what you just said, 3-0 down, come back to 3-3, and then we lost it in the last seconds. 30th of April 2023 4-3. I think the one you're talking about, Sam, is the 2019 one at Anfield where Kane pulled it back and then Salah got the last one.
That's the one. October 9th, 2019.
That's the one.
I think we had a chance to win that game. I remember it being 1-1. I think we had a chance. Which was the game then?
No, that 2019, I was at that game. We scored in the first minute because it was a game after the Champions League. We scored in the first minute with Kane, and then we conceded 2 goals in the second half, including a penalty which Aurier gave away. I still see it now. Well, dreadful.
So, if you were optimistic at Anfield, lads, I know you're all very optimistic of getting a win, and then you see the last 5 visits there, that just sums it up, doesn't it, really? 4 losses, 1 draw. We scored in every game, but apart from that.
We scored 3 last year and still lost.
Scored 3 last year, and we still lost the game. Yeah.
Liverpool haven't even been that impressive at home in the last few months. They've had some wobbles, and their Anfield record before they started having their wobbles this season was bloody good. I'm not expecting our team tomorrow to do anything other than what they've already done this season. What I mean by that is I don't expect to be a complete change of the way they play, and I'm not asking for that. But we're going to have to do something different, surely. Liverpool are going to be very open and attacking. Does that play into our hands? I don't think it does, because I think they've got better or more clinical finishes at this moment in time, even though they're not playing that well themselves. They have got more people that score goals. You've got Jota, you've got Nunes, you've got Diaz, you've got Salah, Gravenberch. You know what I mean? You can then think about the midfield that you go into. Curtis Jones, McAllister. You're talking about, who else is there? There's a few players in there that on their day can do that. And the same for us. But on our day, we can be really bad. And Liverpool, I don't think they can be really bad, but they can be susceptible. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to be tough, lads.
Yeah, this is it. Sean, what are you saying? Same thing as Sean, Sam?
Yeah, really. I mean, it's, the history of our history at Anfield is so poor that I really don't, even with my heart, I can't really envisage anything else other than a Liverpool victory. And I can see them, they've got good delivery, they've got good delivery on set pieces. You could just imagine Trent is thinking, God, I can have a hat trick of assists here, So it's not looking good. However, as I was saying earlier, I don't know if you've seen the full Postecoglou press conference with the embargo bit, you know, the bit they never really show, but it was quite interesting actually. He was kind of, you know, he was being quite ruthless, saying that, you know, that big changes are on the way in the summer, and so that's kind of keeping me, that's lifting me a bit, you know. So he's kind of said to players, you're playing for your future here now, so let's see if that perks them up. And you know, he was being very honest. So I thought, yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Wherever you're watching us from today, PRTvSpurs or Paxton Road TV, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and give us a big follow. I know there's people already in the comment section. Lucas at AFC, NS Sports TV, Zero and the Tester. Thank you guys for following us. Thank you for watching the show, and please continue your comments. We will get through as many comments as we can. So the next one then is the last 5 fixtures. Tottenham drew 1-1 v West Ham. They drew 2-2 with Manchester United. Spurs beat Forest 3-1. Liverpool lost to Palace at home 1-0. We all know what happens in the next 3 fixtures. Spurs lost 4-0 to Newcastle. They beat Fulham 3-1. Spurs lost 3-2 to Arsenal at home. They lost 2-0 to Everton. And we did say that let's hope Tottenham turn up like Everton did, but they didn't. Then it was a Thursday 2-0 defeat to Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and Liverpool drew 2-2 at West Ham. So they've drawn 2, lost 2, won 1. Spurs have lost 3, won 1, drawn 1. And they've only played 1 home game in all that. I might be wrong, but I don't know. Yeah, okay. So they've lost 2, won 1. We've won 1, lost 3, and drawn 1. So both teams, Sam, are not in form at this precise moment. Both teams are out of form. But I think tomorrow's game is going to be who's going to be up for it more. And I think they've got the advantage being at Anfield as well, right?
100%. That loss that they had to Crystal Palace, they had plenty of opportunities, if I remember that game rightly. Palace did play well with the new manager, but they had a game plan. They had a game plan. They weren't gung-ho. They weren't trying to look for possession to maintain. They weren't trying to do build-up play. They were very much get the ball into their key players. I think Eze scored the goal for them in that game against Liverpool, and they nicked one. I don't see us going to try and do the same thing at Anfield, even though that's the approach that we should try and have, because I think at this moment in time, the confidence, I said to you before on the reaction show, once you start losing belief in a manager's system, this is why the last couple of days he's had to be key. He's really had to get into these players, because if there's even a 5% loss of belief in these players, which I've seen, and it starts to head even further south, the first goal tomorrow, it could be all over for us within the first 5-10 minutes of this game. This is what I'm hoping not to see. I don't want to, because Liverpool, as we all know on their day, if they get it right and their crowd's up for it, you are having a hard time at Anfield. And this isn't the game I'd want, really isn't.
Yeah,
I'd rather play the North London. If I'm honest with you, I'd rather play a North London derby. And the reason I'm saying that, because you'd hope that it would mean a little bit more. If we've seen it hasn't meant as much to these players in terms of a fighting spirit against Arsenal and Chelsea in the last 2 games, why so Liverpool? We ain't got no real history of Liverpool. So again, apart from the losses. So it's going to be really, really tough, lads. And I don't think I've ever really predicted a loss in the 4 years I've been doing this. My prediction is this. I'm going to cry. Let me go on. I'll move on. Sorry, do I need to move on to any slides? Or
No. I just want Sean's
I almost broke down.
I know.
If I was in Liverpool's shoes and I've had that kind of run of form, which is, as you say, is not very good by their standards. I mean, they capitulated against Everton. It was shocking. But who would you want? You'd want a home tie, and you'd want to play a team that you always beat. And you know, we tick both those boxes, sadly.
No, you've missed one more box.
What's that?
Aerial threat, set pieces. They love set pieces. They love set pieces.
Well, as I said, they've got great deliverers of set pieces from McAllister to Trent to even Salah can throw in a good corner as well. So it's.
Can I say,
Yeah.
do you think that? Sean, I'll ask you, and then obviously you can answer as well, Sid. Do you think Ange over these last couple of days has made any sort of comment? They must have, but I'm just asking as a general because I didn't know what he said in his press conference if he was asked about set pieces again. Do you think they would have had to have done something over these last couple of days to try and counteract this? Because Liverpool, you're right, they've got some right good set piece deliverers of the ball, and I expect that that's what they will try and target. Anybody would.
I don't know. I mean, he had his press conference very early yesterday. And usually it's about 1 o'clock. But I think it was like 10 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah.
And he couldn't even give injury updates. He said some of the players were obviously feeling it from the game the night before, but he couldn't even say if there were players not available anymore. So, so they would be training yesterday afternoon, and I'm assuming that they'll fly up today.
Yeah,
so
they'll train today. They'll train today and they'll fly.
Yeah, and then they'll fly. So it's. I mean, he didn't give that impression that it was something. He said that there's a lot more things other than as well as set pieces that need to be looked at. But he said, and then he sort of pointed to the history. He said, always had issues in my first season, and what happens in the second season. So, and it was the fact that he was prepared to just, he to a certain degree, he said. He was saying there's players here now who won't be here next season, and he didn't, it was like, and he was also saying that there were even members of staff who might not be here next season. So, there's obviously a thought process going on, and that gave me room for optimism that he isn't resting on his laurels. He is thinking about it, but, it's really, that's really for next season rather than this. Sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was waiting. I thought all I was going to add to that is I wouldn't want to hear those things now. Not at this stage where we've just come off the back of not winning the game in 5. Sorry, one win in 5. That means he's talking about these things now. Obviously, people understand who we might be talking about within the playing squad and the management squad. We all know what happens towards the end of any season if you've not got anything to play for. The players, everybody kind of takes a little bit of a breather. Everybody's flipped 5%. It's on the beach. And we're talking about on the beach. We haven't effectively got anything to play for, because if we were, we would have been playing for top 4. We are comfortably going to be 5th or 6th. If you now know as a player, he's talking like that, I don't know who he's talking about, but I've got a fair idea. You ain't going to be really up for it. As a person that's probably in the coaching squad, being told, probably knowing that you're not going to be here next year, you ain't really going to be up for it. We have to go into tomorrow's game thinking this is the last game that they'll ever play in their lives. I'm serious, because four defeats on the bounce. Anybody in any stage, wherever you started your first game, whether it's your 101st game, I don't care. You can't lose 4 games on the bounce without playing the same way and doing exactly the same thing, which is why it's a real concern for me. But again, we'll see what happens. They might do something different. Football is a funny old game. I hope it is. I really do.
Well, it can bring joy, Sam. It can bring joy as well. It's just we're not having a lot of it at the moment, unfortunately.
And something I've not heard or read about before, but Dr. Tottenham, where's it gone? Dr. Tottenham will remedy Liverpool. I've not heard Dr. Tottenham for a while, and it's coming back. It's coming back. Right. Let's move on then to the season so far then. So, season so far, Liverpool are 3rd, Tottenham are 5th. They've won 22 games. Spurs have won 18. 9 draws, Tottenham 6. They've lost 4. Spurs have lost 10. Average goals scored per match and conceded 2.2, 1.03 Liverpool, 1.19, 1.97 Tottenham, and conceded 1.59. 9 clean sheets. Tottenham have kept 6 clean sheets. Chances created 2.63 to Tottenham's 2.29. Their biggest win is 4-0. Aussies 4-0. Their biggest defeat is 3-1. Aussies 4-0. Sean, again, obviously, we look at the wins. They've won 22, lost 4. We've won 18, lost 10. Massive difference. Goals scored, goals conceded, chances created, relatively there or thereabouts. Clean sheets 9 to our 6, but we're quite a few points behind them. But what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, it shows you the difference, doesn't it? I mean, we don't have the points there. I don't know what they are exactly, but it does say that it does show that to be a better team, you need to win more. You need to draw more than you lose, and you need to score goals. And at the moment, that's something that we're quite patently not doing. So,
15 points behind them, Sean.
15 points, yeah. It's a big gap, yeah. It's a big gap, but that's the way it is. We've had a 3-way, well, for quite a long time, a 3-way title chase. They were in it, but they've obviously hit the buffers in a quite spectacular way, because at one point they were going for like 4 trophies, and if they're going to finish up possibly with just the Carabao Cup, I think that's the only thing they can achieve now. So it just goes to show you how tough it is to be at the top. And these really are the figures that we need to be aiming for. We need to be thinking about scoring 2 goals per game and conceding less than 1, hopefully, or scoring more than we concede, more clean sheets, and that's the challenge for the rest of the season and for next season.
Yeah. Sam?
By most accounts, this Liverpool team hasn't been playing as great as some of the teams in the past of Klopp's, but yet they were in the title race up until probably 2 weeks ago or so. Some would say that they're still in there mathematically, but they've got no chance of winning the league now with Manchester City and Arsenal doing what they're doing. It's interesting seeing their record, the goals conceded per match, anything where you're close to 1 or less than 1, and you have got almost double that in terms of your goals scored. That's a pretty decent record, because if you think about it, you could have someone like Crystal Palace who could have a very much concede 1 goal per game, but they won't score 2 goals per game like Liverpool did, because obviously that makes you double the amount. So Liverpool have probably just fell off the buffers in the last couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, where they were in the run for a lot of trophies. And that's why I'm a little bit skeptical about what we're going to do tomorrow, because of the fact that Klopp's motivational speeches aren't going to have to be much. They all know he's leaving. They all know at this moment in time they're unlikely to get the Champions League, the Premier League this season.
Yeah. So
you've got a couple of home games left. The crowd, this is the big game for them. This is a big game because we're a big team.
Yeah.
And add to that, Sam, that they obviously feel aggrieved at what happened to them at our place.
This is it.
And that's that again, that motivating factor. The officials are going to be onto that. I'm not saying you won't do it consciously, but subconsciously, we've seen referees kind of have that effect because of that monumental fuck up that they did at our place. It's going to be on people's minds. So any dubious decision, it's going to go to VAR. What do you think VAR's going to do? They're not going to err on the side of caution. No. They're obviously going to have to do things by the law. But if we've seen some of the decisions that have been made by VAR and we're questioning and wondering what the hell's going on here, the first goal tomorrow, if we get that, I would then say we need to play very much a counter-attacking game. Are we going to do that? Unlikely. And this is where it's going to be very difficult to watch. We are going to be doing a lot of this because I think it's going to be back and forth, end to end. They have more goal scorers than us at this present time, and that's going to be our issue.
So before we move on to the team selection, Zero and the Testers added a few things in the comment sections. Obviously about the Paul O'Keefe news, and Sean touched up on it just before about the press conference. Sam, if you just take off the slides, I just want to post a video. I just want to have your thoughts on this.
If I going to change that makes change, and you do have to make decisions. And some of those decisions aren't that tough because, whether it's a player or a staff member, they realise it themselves and say, look, I've got a better path somewhere else, and you've got a better path here. So they're not that tough, but some of them you have to make just because of change, not necessarily because they don't fit in the picture. But you still have to change. Like, I've got to change the squad. I have to, right? Because I've got to build a squad that I think can play out football. For that to happen, it has to be exits as well. So I can't just keep everyone here and keep bringing players. So sometimes you let people go.
Difficult to hear, I think people are saying, Sid.
Yeah, I think. I tell you what, if you carry on with the team, I'll see if I can redo it. But
no problem.
Yeah, I mean, if we just want to listen to it, I'll play the sound. So give me 1 second. I'll play the sound. So we don't really want to watch the video, but I'll play the sound so we can listen to it. Yeah. So 1 second. Give me 1 second. This is what he's saying then. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear it. Actually, don't. Do you know what? Carry on.
Okay. So we'll move on to the team then, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll put the back line up then.
Yeah, put the back line up and then we'll discuss. I mean, this is what I think tomorrow. This is what I think the back five is going to be, right? Listen, Emerson Royal's been getting hammered, right? Because he's not a left back. I'm sorry. And we done it in the reaction show, Sean. And we did say that he is, I would say, a liability kind of thing, because the guy wants to play more in the middle. He can't play as a left back. He can't defend. And you're going to be up against some decent players tomorrow in Sunday. So I'm going with Mickey van der Ven at left back. I know I've seen quite a lot on social media as well. People are saying that put Mickey in at left back because of his pace, and he can also cover. So I've gone with Van der Ven at left back, with Dragusin coming in to play on the left. Dragusin cannot he cannot play on the left. He's more right-footed. But I would be more happier than this than having Emerson Royal at left back. What's your thoughts, Sean? I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Royale was really found out on Thursday night, and the thought of him up against Salah doesn't fill me with a lot of things. What I would like, perhaps, if you're going to go with this formation, would be that we only play the one inverted fullback, and that's Porro.
Yeah.
And that the other three shift over to become a back three. So therefore, Dragusin is more central rather than playing left centre back.
Yeah.
But whether they've had time to work on that, I've probably very limited. It would be,
if I really
off the hoof.
Sorry.
Off the hoof. So I would. Yeah, I mean, I think it's an option. It's an option. I don't know what Ange is going to do. He tends to want, players who are at least familiar with the position, and that makes me think he may even give Emerson a bye tomorrow. But I wouldn't be against that. I must admit, I wouldn't be against that.
Yeah. Sam, what's your thoughts? Because I know you had a meltdown, Emerson Royal. Would you be happy with this?
Not for the first game 3 days after we've just played and lost, and this is our fourth game we could potentially lose, because you need time to get this sorted out. Unless they've done it before, you couldn't have done it in the last 2 days, because again, you got a recovery day Friday. You would have had to have done a recovery day, and then you're only starting to put together this team via screen and work today. I don't think Ange's that sort of manager who's just going to, unless he's had to be forced to do it. If he's got players available, he'll play players that he knows. Because, again, I like all the bullish approach, but Ten Hag's got a bullish approach. And look where the situation is. He's saying that these players are brilliant. He's saying that this is that. That's fine. The manager should have that. But be real now. If you put Van der Ven to the left, we're expecting him to play as a left midfielder, a left-sided fullback that we know in our system, which means he's playing in midfield. if you're playing in midfield, you're going to be expecting Dragerson to then cover the same spaces that he would do. You're pulling two players out of a position to cover for one player being missing. I don't think you can do that when you're going away to Anfield. So I would rather see a back five, which I know is not going to happen, but you kind of touched on it, Sid. You play Romero in that centre, you play Dragerson to the right where he's comfortable, you play Van der Ven to the left where he's comfortable, you play another in that left back. Now, if you're playing another in the left back, which would be Emerson Rowe, at least you've got cover for him, because you'd expect that Van der Ven would be able to cover for that, and you've got two centre backs in that position. So that would be my position, my point of view. And then, as we've seen what Romero has been doing for a large parts of the last few games, he's pushing further up anyway.
Yeah.
Similar to how Sheffield United, when they first come into the league a few years back, they did that with their centre backs. I don't see why we can't try something like that. It doesn't change your philosophy. It does change your system. But if you think about it, it doesn't necessarily change your philosophy, because you could then have another, possibly put in another 10, because you've compensated for the fact that you've got a back five. So you could have Romero in there, and then you could possibly play Maddison and Lo Celso. I don't see it happening, but that's my thoughts, how I do it.
It's going to be a field day for them if Emerson Royal starts at left back. I mean, this is
if Emerson starts at left back and we play the same way where we're expecting him to play midfield, we're going to get fucked.
Yeah, because their midfield and their strikers are absolutely going to muller these guys. If you just take the screen off, Sam, I will just play that thing again. So I'll just put the audio on, and this is his press conference yesterday.
Like, you know, if we're really going to change, that means change, you know, and you have to make decisions, and some of those decisions aren't that tough, because, you know, whether it's a player or a staff member, they realise it themselves and say, look, you know what, it's I've got a better path somewhere else, and you've got a better path here. So they're not that tough, but some of them you have to make just because of change, not necessarily because they don't fit in the picture, but you still have to change. Like, I've got to change this squad. I have to, right? Because I've got to build a squad that I think can play our football. For that to happen, there has to be exits as well. I can't just keep everyone here and keep bringing players. So sometimes you let people go that you think, it's a good player, but how am I going to change if I don't do that? Right.
So there you go. He has to make change. He has to let players go. Some players might want to stay at Spurs. Some players might think it's better for them to go somewhere else and change their pathway. That, to me, is a statement of intent. That after that Chelsea performance, for him to come out with that after a Chelsea game, I think it proves that he's not happy with the performance. And like you said, he's not happy with some players, and he has to make change. That's a bold statement, Sam.
It's an absolutely monumental statement, because Gary Neville, I think on his Gary Neville podcast or in the commentary, said a football contract is one of the hardest to break from both sides, both parties. It's true. Hence the reason why we've got so many players still at our club that shouldn't be there. So it's great when we have that bullish approach, and I commend him for it, but show me the evidence. We've got Ndombele, who's nowhere close to anywhere close to the squad, let alone team, who's on 200k a week. His contract doesn't end till the end of next season. We've got people talking about Lo Celso getting a new contract. Again, I think his contract may run out end of next season. There's a few players where they're in this position now where it's good talking about it, but what are you going to do? Are you going to cancel off these contracts and get rid of them? Because that's the only way you're going to get rid of a player who's earning 200 grand a week, who doesn't care about football, who can go on loan somewhere else next season. You can't tell me you can force these players out if they don't want to go. We've already seen Emerson Royal was told, you're out on your ear, you don't need them. You cannot play players. It doesn't mean say they're going to leave. It's too comfortable at Spurs. It's not an uncomfortable environment. So what you need to do to make that and show players that it doesn't matter, you're ruthless, is right. Ndombele, you're never coming back here again. Cancel your contract, pay him off. You have to pay him off. Yeah. Lo Celso, don't need you anymore. See you later. And I'm going to say this now. Son, thank you for the memories. It's been brilliant, but we cannot revolve and build our team around Son for the next couple of years. If you get an offer in for him, and I've heard this on a couple of podcasts now, I think you have to seriously consider it. I know about him being the captain, but we can't be sentimental anymore. Ben Davies is great, fantastic servant to the club. Has to go. Oliver Skipp, can't carry him. Yves Bissouma, not going to make us better, because he doesn't have that mentality. With so many players, how are you going to do all this? You can't. It's bullish talk, but it's not going to work. We've only just got rid of Eric Dyer. Only just. So the proof will be in what they do. If they start, bang, cancelling contracts, right, you're not wanted to see you later, we'll pay you off, I will start to think that, yeah, we're on a positive. But if I don't see any of that, he's not going to shift out players to be able to get players in. And he's already said that. I can't bring players in if players ain't gone. How are you going to get rid of the players if they don't want to go?
Yeah. Sean, so obviously bouncing on what Sam's saying, do you think then that statement from Postecoglou is something out of frustration, or is it something that's been building up throughout the season and now he's seeing it that some of them players are not good enough for his system and he just does not want them around because he sees that what is the point of having that player in my team if he's not going to do what I want him to do? Or should he have just not said anything until the end of the season and made them changes?
No, I think that was a message to the fans. I don't think it was born out of frustration. I think he's responding. I mean, he says that he uses the press conference to speak to the fans because that's an important role for him. I think it's not. I don't see it out of frustration. I just think it out of realism. And say what you want. He's a realist. He knows that he needs to change the squad. We can't have players who've been here from the period of AVB, like Ben Davies, for example, and players who are here brought under Jose and Antonio and et al. It needs a complete and utter refresh, and I think that's that may involve very painful financial decisions like paying off Ndombele's contract, who's going to be a 2-time title winner. I can't believe I'm saying that. What a waste of a career that is. But I mean, I don't. I'm just. What I'm looking forward to is I don't buy into the tabloids. As I say, I've said to everyone connected with our channel, until it's on TottenhamHotspur.com, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. So we'll be linked with every player under the sun. We're already being linked with every player under the sun, it seems. And until it's officially confirmed on the website, chill out this summer. But I think that came over as a man on a mission, and he's seen it all before. We might poo-poo his 28 years worth of experience because it's in different leagues, but football is football.
Yeah,
and he will make the changes as are necessary.
Yeah,
and I trust him. I just trust him.
This is it. We've got to trust the process. And there was another question he was asked in the press conference, and the guy was asking the question, and he was muttering his words. So Postecoglou turned around and said, "Do you know what, mate? I will answer this question for you." And I can't remember what the question was, but the answer was, maybe the Premier League is a step too far, mate. Who knows? Maybe. But I will still be on that hill, wounded, my dying breath saying, I believe, I do believe. But I really do, mate. And as long as I'm here, and that's what you will see. You will see this team playing the way I want it to play. So he's got his philosophy and he's put it down. He's nailed it. I'm going to play my way, and I will want the players to play my way. And if I'm not happy with them players or the way they're playing, then I will make sure I get the players in. So we've said this all along. This summer, it's going to be massive. Last summer, we did say the same. And the summer before, deadwood. Ange came in, got rid of some of the deadwood. Now, he started that process. He's got to finish that process, like you said, Sam and Sean. And most importantly, like you said, Sam, last season, it was Kane. No, we can't sell him. He's our talisman. No, blah, blah, blah. Money came in. We've got to cash in. Son, unfortunately, I totally agree with you, Sam. Absolutely brilliant player. World class, as they all say, Gary Neville's and all them lot. But sentiment aside, I think he's hit his peak. and a year or two left on his contract. If a bid comes in, then you've got to say, do you know what? Thank you for your memories. We don't think you're going to be taking us any further forward in what Ange wants to do. Maybe Ange himself now is seeing that. And maybe there's other players out there. Mitoma might be a replacement for him, like for like replacement, in my opinion. Who knows? But we've got to move on. And I think you're right. Son and other players. It's going to be hard for some people. We'll probably get a lot of crap on social media or everywhere else about what do you mean about Son. But reality is reality, unfortunately, people.
Do you know what this reminds me of, Sam? And is Pochettino's painful rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, that press conference where, you know, you have a new house, but you need to have good new furniture in it.
Yeah.
And that's where that's where Pochettino was let down. But Pochettino identified players needed to go. But
so this is where I've got my, and again, we can have a longer conversation, but I think we should have these conversations at this point as well. We've been trying to do this rebuild basically since the end of that Champions League final 2019. We saw what happened with Poch because of that. I've got no problem with the bullish approach from any manager, and that's what I want to hear. I want to hear a manager say he's going to do this. But if you go back to the start of Ange's reign and partway through up until, I guess, Chelsea sort of, and probably after that, he's always maintained it's about improvement. It's about improving these players. He has said, yeah, players need to go, but he hasn't said it with as much vim as I've heard now, because he's always maintained that, you know, he's building something and he can do this and he can make these players better. Clearly, you can't make certain players any better than that. You can put a system together which they can look good, and we've seen some players look good in that system, but we've also seen that some players don't look bad. If you can't get rid of those players, let's say, because I keep saying we cannot do that in one window or even two windows. If you've got a player, let's say, for instance, Ben Davies, he doesn't want to go. Let's say he wants to stay. What are you going to do to Ben Davies? You have to cut his contract down and tell him, thank you for the memories. Are you going back to Swansea? See you later. End on Ben is the same. We could look at a lot of these players that will come up on there. How are you going to do that if you don't have the ability to do that unless you are ruthless? We've never seen Daniel Levy be that ruthless. This is going to be an odds with the manager. Ange has actually been very honest and said, I'm the one who makes the decisions on the playing stuff. So if he says, I want to get Ben Davies out, I want to get Son out, I don't want to see him come back here because he's had a few too many hamburgers. I want to see him on the bench. I don't want to. Okay, well, how are we going to do it? They're going to have to sit down and have this plan because it's not very easy.
Do you know what?
That's my concern, that they're going to have a clash with at that level, which we've seen time and time again. And the more you see Ange in the press conferences with his honesty, I don't like that. Sometimes I want my manager not to be as honest, but then it gets to the point where they are honest and they do a Conte. I can actually see him doing that in a different way, if that makes sense. I can see him using the press to get that message across, and it doesn't bode well because of the history of our club since, you know, we've been trying to rebuild for the last 5 years. I
think what we're going to have to do, Sam, maybe next week or the week after, is we're going to have one of these uncomfortable conversations. And I think
I thought the series had finished. I did feel I thought that was it.
No, I think we're going to have to do one on this one because
we'll need to do a who stays, who goes.
Yeah, I think we're going to, should I stay or should I go? Yeah, kind of them. Right, let's bring the team back up. Let's bring the team back up. So, midfield then, I'm going with, it's a tough one, but Bissouma is Bentancur and Maddison. Yes, there's a lot of cries, and Jude's not saying Maddison is terrible. He's got to go to Rangers material. However, David Clark is saying here, trust me, Son has 3 more good years and put in the right place to aid him and Maddison. I think Maddison is...
He has, how old is Son? 31?
Yeah.
30, 31? He hasn't got, I'm sorry, David. He hasn't got 3 years of football left in him. Not at Champions League level, not at European level, to play week in, week out. Son cannot do that and then play international. He's expected to play for South Korea. It's not that they want him to play. He's expected to play. They will not have it that he's going to be backing out. They can't. He's going to be playing international games next season. He is going to be playing European games because we haven't got the squad. We have to be less sentimental. He's done a great job. And I'm not saying I want Son out of the club. Of course not. I don't. But I know that if we are serious about a rebuild, that is the sort of statement that we have to make. We have to make it. Otherwise, we are going to see Son in a Spurs shirt until it's too late to get any money for him. We look back at the Harry Kane thing. He was our best player, and he's still on the level where he's scoring goals, but he's scoring goals for Bayern Munich with players around him that are going to create. So he's always going to be able to score 40-odd goals a season. If you came back to Spurs at this moment in time, he wouldn't score the same amount of goals he's scored for Bayern Munich. He'd score a lot of goals, but he's not because he's around better players. Son, when he was with Kane, was able to do that. We don't have the players around Son because Son cannot carry the games like he used to do for us. Let's take the sentimentality out of it and do what we need to do if this is a serious rebuild. Because if, as I said, if we see Timo Werner come in and we see new contracts given to people like Lo Celso and Son and this person, forget it. Just forget it.
Uncomfortable conversations, my friend. Uncomfortable conversation. Right. Midfield three then, guys. What's your thoughts on this one then? I mean, it's a merry-go-round, Sean, right? We can put anything in there.
It's very much a merry-go-round, and I didn't like the fact that when Basuma was getting his bollocking on Thursday night, he wasn't even looking at the coach, and he was tying his shoes on. That to me stunk a bit of insolence. And well, I mean, I don't think Maddison did anything in his substitute appearance to justify including. Bentancur, I think Bentancur did okay, but I still think he's feeling his way back into this game.
Yeah.
For me, I would have Lo Celso in Maddison's place. I'd have Skip in Basuma's place.
Yeah. And
I'd maybe have Sarr where Bentancur is.
Yeah.
And have some legs, have some just we need a change. We need a change there because our midfield is flat and not creative enough. And I mean, look at Lo Celso's cameo. 5 minutes, he created 3 chances. And I just thought, oh my God, it's like, come on, Ange. When is Lo Celso going to get a chance?
The reason I put Maddison in, and purely the reason I put Maddison is because I don't think he gets dropped for 2 games in a row. That's my only reason. I was contemplating Lo Celso instead of Maddison, yeah, but obviously 3 sons, the wisdom ones, middle one said, Dad, he ain't gonna drop Maddison 2 games in a row, so he will start Maddison. And I thought, do you know what? I think you're right. He won't drop Maddison, especially after we spent, So that. I think Skip doesn't come in because he's only just come back from injury, hence why I put Basuma. But again, this could be Basuma's now final call for me. If he doesn't perform tomorrow, then you've got to drop him. And if it means bringing Donnelly, Dorringtons, there's other players in that, then you're going to have to, because at what point are you going to realise that these 3, no matter which 3 you're playing, it's just not happening. It's not happening. And if you want to rebuild, you've got to try the under-21. Some of them players, are they going to be good enough to come into this squad? So bring them in. Because if you're doing a rebuild, you're going to get rid of players. You've got players already there that you might be good enough. The champions are going to a cup final. Bring them in. Give them some minutes. Try them out. Sam, middle 3.
Yeah, I'm feeling very uncomfortable because, as I said, when we looked at this, we all looked at this midfield 3, Basuma, Bentancur, Maddison. We can't wait for this. We didn't have it. We didn't get a lot of it. We're thinking this is, and not just us, pundits in better and higher positions, more esteemed than us, have said this midfield 3 of Bentancur, Basuma, Maddison could be absolutely mind-blowing based on the first 10 games, based on Bentancur from the previous season, based on Basuma in his first 10 games. We've clearly seen that at this moment in time, if you're looking at this moment in time, those 3 ain't going to work. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why the 3 ain't going to work. If you take Thursday, for example, I don't think Maddison played that well. He played quite a lot of that game. I don't think Basuma, and they both started in that game. Bentancur hasn't been playing that well. So if you put all these 3 together and you take it from Thursday's game, 1 day to recover, plan, play. I don't know if these players are going to be as the highest in terms of their physical ability. The mental side of things is going to be tested because we've lost 3 games in a row. That in itself tells me that this is a fucking tough thing to play them 3 players. when you haven't got form between any three of them. None of them. Not one of them has got any form. So what should you do in that situation? You should look at the physicality of the players. Should you put someone who's got less scarring on him? Skip has got no scarring really on him because he hasn't played. So I'd put him in there. And not because he's a better player, because of those reasons I've just said. I'd also look to put Lo Celso in there because of the fact that he's being talked about as having a new contract, but we ain't seen him. There must be an issue there with Ange. So there's something there. If we see that midfield three start tomorrow, then I clearly know that Ange's got his favourites. And we have to accept that every manager does, but based on form, based on what's happened, based on this whole shit, that should be a midfield three of youngsters or players that ain't played. Are we going to see that? Are we going to see any of the under 21s, under 18s in there? No, we're not. And that's me. That's the uncomfortable conversations that Ange is very, very honest in his approach. And again, I keep saying back, it's great to be bullish. Ten Hag is bullish. But people are now saying Ten Hag's deluded. I don't want my manager to be tagged in that same way because it's too soon in his career. But if you start doing this and you try to explain it in the ways that I think you're trying to explain it, and we get tonked, it's gonna repeat on until the end of the season. That's why I want the season to end so we don't have these conversations.
Front three,
Sorry.
Front three, Sean. I want your thoughts on the front three first. But this is what I think the front three is going to be. Again, like the middle three, the front three, it's a lottery, isn't it? You don't know which three he's going to go for. But like Sam said, if you've got your favourites, then I'm assuming this is what it's going to be. Sean?
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably pick that three. I mean, you know, I would love to play 5-4-1 tomorrow.
I would love it, Sean. Nothing would give me greater pleasure than to see him change his system. Not necessarily his philosophy. We can still play attacking, but the system is so open.
Can you do me a favour? Can you take your hands off like that? Put your hands on the table flat, and then do a Kevin Keegan and say, "I would love it. I would love it."
I mean, you know, it would be shades of 1987, but 5-4-1. You know, when you had Clive Allen as the one was fantastic, and it is an attacking. You know, it can be an attacking formation. You know, but anyway, it's not going to happen. So I think, you know, Sonny's legs have gone. I'm not for casting him off just yet. I must admit, Sam, I think he's carried a lot this season, and he's probably tired. He's been overplayed. We need to manage his minutes a bit better, but I think it's. I don't know. It's.
But again, could you keep him as club captain, Sean, if he is managed minutes next season? You can't, so you'd have to change that.
Yeah, I would make.
You have to build your team around a captain that is going to be playing.
Yeah, well, Romero is the Romero.
Exactly.
Yeah. Romero's the obvious captain, isn't he? Yeah.
I agree, 100% on that one. Sam, front three change, same thing
for the midfield three. There's scarred players in those positions. Son's tired. He's better off on the left because he's got less to do, but he hasn't been that effective on the left in the games that we've seen recently. Richarlison, again, if we look at what Ange has kind of done, he's brought him back saying he's fit, but hasn't started him, then takes him off after an hour. I understand him taking him off after an hour because he'd only just come back from injury, but then that defeats the object. Is he fit then? You know, because that he hasn't played him for these other games, and he's told me he's fit, but yet he takes him off after an hour. We need a goal scorer in a game which we needed to win. So it's things like that. Kulishevsky, again, if he starts on the right-hand side, he's up against Robertson. Now, he's going to have opportunities because Robertson's going to be attacking if Robertson plays tomorrow. But it also has the other effect is you've got to get by him. I don't know if you've got enough pace to get by Robertson. Robertson's a quick player. Obviously, Brennan Johnson, and then even though Brennan Johnson's not the answer, and if I then get really, really start thinking about it, I don't want to see any of them front. I'd rather see Mikey Moore start. I'd rather see, you know,
Sam, can I just interrupt you for 1 second before you carry on? Luca AFC has been with us for quite a few shows now, and he's a gooner, obviously, but
he's off to go and see his team.
Yeah, he's going to go and watch his team, and then if anybody wants to do is watch him on his reaction at 2:30, make sure you join him. Thanks, Luca. Right, Sam, carry on.
So yeah, the front three tomorrow, it probably will be that front three. The only surprise I could potentially see is maybe Johnson starting ahead of Kulusevski, because I think if you have pace, we know that Liverpool like to attack. They will lose pace. Klopp is very much in that same vein as Ange. He's very arrogant, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but he is. So Klopp, I don't expect Klopp to change his game, because he's always moaning when other people change their minds about how they play. So I don't think Klopp's going to do that. But he might be surprised that we'll have a lot of possession. But again, he's a manager. Okay, I understand that they're going to have the ball. We can play off transition very well. Let's play off transition, players. And that's what Liverpool will do to us with the pace that they've got in the way that we play. Kulusevski doesn't have as much ability. Yes, he works hard, but he doesn't have that pace. So if he's dropping back to have to compensate for Robertson, how's he going to get out front in the quick motions in terms of transition? It's difficult to see how. That's all. It's difficult to see how.
David Clark wants to start in front of Kulu tomorrow. So if Angie's watching this, please, David Clark is available to start on the right instead of Kulu.
He'll bring his own boots.
And he'll bring his own boots, yeah. And he'll make his own way there as well. Right, Sam, that's the team then. I mean, we can go on forever about this one. But again, it's a lot of uncomfortable conversations. Right, this is that time then where everybody hates. And we all know where this one's going to go to. But it's the team. It's the score prediction. Everybody in your comment sections, I know what thoughts you've got on the predictions. Please bang them in the comment section and let's see what everyone's prediction is. Who wants to go at first? In fact, Juicy's gone first and he's gone Liverpool 4, Spurs 0. Remember, Poro ITV at the same time tomorrow. David Clark said...
He gave two scores depending on whether Van Dijk's playing.
Yeah, he said if Van Dijk plays, then it will be... If he doesn't play, he said it'll be 2-2 to Tottenham. And if Van Dijk plays, Liverpool win 3-0. So there we go. Sam, what are you saying? Oh, I know what you was going to say, but go on.
Okay.
Just say it.
I don't want to just say it. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I can't see us winning tomorrow's game. I honestly can't see us winning tomorrow's game. Liverpool have been dented. They need to show some face. They have only had one result in the last 5. What better team to come to play against when you want a result? We both need results, but they've got the added advantage. I think they've got more motivation than we have. And that scoreline of 4-2 that Dino's put down there, that looks very, very... that looks like the kind of score I can see tomorrow, because I don't see how we keep a clean sheet. I don't see how Liverpool keep a clean sheet. Well, I can actually, but they're going to be very attacking, so I can see us getting opportunities to score. Are these players good enough to score 2? I'm going to go 3-1. I'm going to change my mind and go 3-1 Liverpool. Sorry, Spurs fans. That's my first prediction of a loss I think I've done in 4 years.
Cool, that's fine. Sean?
I think it will be 3-2 to Liverpool.
Yeah. Fine. Do you know what? I've said this from the moment Tottenham beat Liverpool 2-1 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. This game is already written off. Yeah. From that moment, I said this game is going to be written off and everything is going to be tomorrow. So my prediction for tomorrow is refs and VAR 3, Spurs 1. Same as you, Sam. But Liverpool ain't winning this game. The referee and VAR are going to win this game tomorrow because, like I said, it was written already from that game.
Stockley Park 3.
Yeah, Stockley Park. And I think this is how it's going to work. If a referee makes a decision on the field that's contentious, Stockley Park can say, all right, you need to have a look at this, and he'll go and have a look, and he might change his mind. Alternatively, the ref might miss something, and Stockley Park will say, hold on a minute, you missed something, mate. Come on, have a look at this. And that's what's going to... All game is going to be, because they're going to make sure they get it right. And if it's close and if it's borderline, it's going to be on the side of Liverpool. And
the bizarre thing, they did everything to try and rule out that first Chelsea goal on Thursday night.
Everything.
It was weird.
Everything. And I can't see that being any different, particularly being at Anfield. As you said, the spotlight was on that game, and it's been on. Liverpool actually started a petition to get the game replayed. That's how deep they went. So if you think that these people have forgotten about that,
this is it.
Be horrible.
So I think we can well and truly say no one's expecting Tottenham to win tomorrow, so it's going to be a defeat. And you know what's going to happen now, don't you? They're going to go in there, put a performance in, and we're going to have to come on, reaction to on, hands in our heads, and say, "Wow!"
and clip ourselves up.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, lads. Final thoughts then going into tomorrow's game, Sean.
Well, I'd like to see some changes in the team, and certainly a change in attitude and desire and thing. But it is Anfield.
Same. I would love to see us come out with real fighting spirit, regardless of the form that players are playing. I would like to see some changes. I would like to see a potential system change, being a 5. I don't know what you would call it, a 5-4-1. I guess you would call it. But that Romero playing in that centre. We need to do something different. I just think our approach needs to be slightly different tomorrow. I don't think we can play the same way and expect to beat Liverpool, because they're expecting it. They're probably better off transition anyway with the players that they got, so it could be bad. That's my final thoughts. It could be bad. Hopefully not. Yeah.
Jude's not like to give you boys credit for putting on these shows, especially during these trying times. Top of the hat to you boys. Listen, Jude, I've even travelled to Manchester. It's my nephew's wedding tomorrow, and I've done 2 shows from Manchester. So we're dedicated Tottenham fans, and we're bringing you content, PRTvSpurs, regardless of the trying times or not.
Because we're used to these times. That's why it's not so hard for us to do. We're used to these times.
All London Man United fans, 23% that live in Manchester City, and Man United fans, they all live in London. So I thought I'd come back to up north and just give them an extra 1% being a northerner. I'm not a Man United fan anyway. But my final thoughts then, you know what? I say week in, week out. You've lost 3 under bounce. Away supporters, 2 away games. You've been woeful. Away supporters have been there, followed through, sang your hearts out for them, and the players haven't performed. You're going to Anfield tomorrow. You've got a crap record at Anfield. The fans are going to be there regardless. They're going to make that journey to Anfield, put in a performance for the fans, make them fans proud to go back home on the M1, M6, M1, whichever way they're going to get to London. Just put in a performance, lads, and that's all we ask for. A couple of games to go now, you know, this, and then we've got City, 2 of the big games left of the season. Let's go to Anfield and make life hell for Jurgen Klopp's penultimate game of the season. Let's give it to them, and let's make Jurgen Klopp walk alone back to Germany. That's all I'm saying.
See, I hope you're right.
Right, that's it. Sean, Sam, thank you very much for joining me on this Saturday morning. Thank you, everyone in the comment section. Thank you for coming on, as always. Thank you for all your comments. Appreciate it. And as always, we will
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Develop.